There's conditioning is kind of, I think, the key to everything. And, a guy was out of...
The casket has been obliterated.
For a big guy.
But I guess it all kind of weighs out.
Like, feel about tonight's fights, particularly the main event with Brock Lesnar and Cain Velasquez.
Since when did you send for me?
The surgeon told him one more shot to that side of his face could cost him the eye. Up to 90% of Mark Calaway's orbital floor was gone, destroyed by a single errant strike from a 500-pound man on a house show loop that never should have happened. That was 1995. The Undertaker still had 30 years left in this business, and that night, inside a surgical consultation room, his relationship with professional tolerance ended permanently. How do you spend 3 decades as WWE's most feared locker room enforcer and still say yes to almost everything Vince McMahon puts in front of you? And what finally breaks that discipline? What level of recklessness, dishonesty, or raw incompetence tips the scales from reluctant partner to full refusal? 10 wrestlers found out the answer. None of them enjoyed learning it. Coming in at number 10 is Chris Jericho. And the rift started before Y2J had even been in the building a week. One night after crashing The Rock's promo, Jericho interrupted Undertaker mid-segment, branded him the personification of boredom, and declared that Raw was now Raw is snore. The crowd agreed. That was the problem. Undertaker's promo really had been dragging, and having a newcomer expose it publicly, in the middle of his own ring, landed like a slap to a man who viewed the locker room hierarchy as sacred. Shawn Michaels and Steve Austin both pulled Jericho aside and told him he'd crossed a serious line. For a stretch, the relationship was ice cold. They eventually found common ground. Undertaker dropped the world title to Jericho in the 2010 Elimination Chamber, but that first impression nearly killed any chance of it ever happening at all. Number 9 is a story about power and creative stupidity in equal measure. In 2001, WWE wanted Albert, the man now known as Matt Bloom, to beat Undertaker clean on television. According to X-Pac, Undertaker's response was instantaneous. That's not happening. Not out of nowhere. Albert did get a disqualification win on SmackDown, but that was the ceiling. To the Phenom, absorbing a meaningless TV loss for a mid-card giant with no built story wasn't good business. It was booking nonsense, and he simply refused to be part of it. Heidenreich is number 8, and the entire program is a case study in what happens when management books a feud. The Undertaker cannot carry alone. The 2004 to 2005 stretch gave fans poetry readings, a disturbing angle involving Michael Cole, and casket matches that evaporated without consequence. Plans existed for a Brothers of Destruction tag match against Heidenreich and Snitsky at WrestleMania. They did not survive Undertaker's resistance. Randy Orton got the spot. Bruce Pritchard later apologized on his podcast for the live event matches, calling them worse than awful. When the Phenom refuses to take a feud to the biggest stage of the year, the creative direction is not the only thing that dies. Number 7 is darker than a bad match. In February 2003 on SmackDown, Chris Kanyon climbed out of an oversized gift box dressed as Boy George, singing, "Do You Really Want to Hurt Me?" Undertaker's answer was a vicious chair shot, including unprotected contact to the head. Kanyon later wrote that he believed the entire segment was designed to humiliate him, and whispers circulated for years that Undertaker's response carried a personal edge tied to Kanyon's sexuality. Undertaker denied knowing Kanyon was gay until years after the fact, and insisted he swung that chair the same way he always had. But the result was unmistakable regardless of intent. Kanyon's WWE run never recovered. The segment was a burial, and whatever working relationship might have developed between them never got the chance to be anything else. Big Show is number 6, and this one is less about a single refusal than about the early version of a man Undertaker simply could not respect. When Paul White crossed over from WCW, he arrived with size, athleticism, and almost no ring discipline or professional accountability. Undertaker became his reluctant mentor. What Show actually received was nightly verbal beatdowns, corrections over botches, attitude, and how he treated the crew around him. Big Show has admitted he felt he could never reach a standard Undertaker found acceptable. Those Attitude-era house show loops were grinding for both of them. Their later work improved significantly once Show matured. But early on, Undertaker made it clear he had no interest in sharing a ring with a giant who refused to put in the work. Jack Swagger lands at number 5, and this one is unusually clean in its cause and effect. In 2010, Undertaker was supposed to hit his signature flying clothesline in a match with Swagger. Swagger mistimed it. Both men went for the same spot, and the sequence collapsed. That kind of thing happens in professional wrestling. What came after it did not have to. When Undertaker tried to talk through the match, Swagger admitted he didn't know Undertaker's moveset and hadn't watched his matches in preparation. For a man who had spent 2 decades demanding professional respect from everyone in the locker room, that admission was unforgivable. Undertaker made it known he had no interest in working with Swagger again. They never shared a singles match after that. One botch and 0 homework closed the door permanently. Drop a like if you've ever heard the Mabel Orbital Bone story. Subscribe so the rest of this list finds you. And before we get to the top 3, leave a comment telling us who you think deserves the number 1 spot. Diamond Dallas Page is number 4, and his downfall started before he ever had a meaningful match. When WCW's roster flooded WWE following the buyout, the atmosphere backstage was already combustible. DDP showed up with notebooks, literally scripted matches broken down beat by beat. Triple H warned him not to put those notes in front of Undertaker. DDP did it anyway. Undertaker grabbed the paper, crumpled it, and threw it in the trash without ceremony. Old school veterans didn't negotiate matches like homework assignments, and the message should have been received. Then on a house show, DDP failed to bump and feed cleanly through a comeback sequence, and that became the final verdict. Their 2001 feud turned into something one-sided and degrading. DDP played a creepy stalker targeting Undertaker's wife, Sarah. He got pinned by her. He said afterward that the entire program did nothing for his career. Undertaker gave him nothing in the ring because he had already decided backstage that DDP had not earned the right to be treated as an equal. Hulk Hogan is number 3, and this one is specifically about a lie. Survivor Series 1991. Undertaker defeats Hogan for his first WWE Championship, driving him into the mat with a tombstone. Afterward, Hogan began telling people the move had wrecked his neck. Undertaker panicked, and then he watched the tape. Hogan's head never made contact. Undertaker tracked him down in San Antonio and asked him directly. Hogan's explanation: the hold had been too tight, so his neck jammed anyway. That was the moment, Undertaker later said, when he understood everything he needed to know about Terry Bollea. He stayed professional after that. He said hello, he did business when required, but he never extended trust again. When Hogan returned in 2002, the warmth was simply gone, and it was never coming back. Giant Gonzalez is number 2, and Undertaker has said it himself. That program took years off his career. El Gigante debuted by eliminating Undertaker from the 1993 Royal Rumble, then dragged him through WrestleMania 9's, SummerSlam, and an endless cycle of house shows across months. Gonzalez was enormous, uncoordinated, and unable to execute basic sequences with any reliability. Undertaker compared the experience to making chicken salad out of chicken crap. While Bret Hart was delivering legitimate classics against Yokozuna and the best workers in the company, Undertaker was spending his nights in a ring with a man in a painted-on unitard who couldn't work at any functional level. Bruce Prichard has joked that Undertaker hasn't fully forgiven him for booking it. If Calaway could remove one chapter from his resume entirely, this is the one he'd burn. Which brings everything back to where this story started. King Mabel is number 1. After winning King of the Ring in 1995, Mabel received a significant push from WWE management. He was 500 pounds, reckless, and had already hurt Kevin Nash and others before Undertaker ever stepped into the ring with him. On a house show, one errant strike blew out Undertaker's orbital floor. Reports put the damage at up to 90% of the bone structure. His optic nerve rested on shattered fragments. Doctors warned him that one more direct impact to that area of his face could cost him the eye permanently. Surgery followed. Undertaker missed time and returned wearing the mask, the Phantom of the Opera look that became one of the stranger chapters of his career. Behind closed doors, the message he sent was absolute. He wanted no part of a singles program with Mabel again, and he made that position clear to the people who controlled the booking. Mabel's push collapsed. He was released not long after. They crossed paths again years later under different names and different gimmicks, but the original damage had already been done, and both men knew exactly what it was. For 30 years, The Undertaker said yes to almost everything Vince McMahon asked of him. He worked injured, he worked bad opponents. He worked programs that had no business existing because someone had to protect the locker room and keep the machine moving. But when he finally drew a hard line, when he looked at a name on a sheet and said no, it was never about ego. It was because the man across from him was dangerous or dishonest or so unprepared that the risk of sharing a ring with him outweighed anything the match could possibly produce. These 10 found out what happened when the Phenom stopped being accommodating. Not one of them got a second chance at changing his mind. Which refusal surprises you the most? Was Mabel the right number one? Or does Hogan's lies still burn hotter after all these years? Leave it in the comments, smash like if you made it to the end, and we'll see you in the next one.